Alright, what's up everybody? I'm out here at Freedom Park in Valdosta, my home course, and I'm here to do an in the bag video to start my 2020 season. I meant to do this about a month ago, but because I broke this toe, I wasn't able to throw for 5 weeks. Now that I'm back, here we are. Okay, I'm going to start out with my putters. I've recently switched my putting putters to the P Model S. These are both 173 grams in the base grip plastic. I'm really liking the feel of them. They're very slim, slightly rounded with a micro bead. It's very comfortable for me, both in my hand for both putting and for throwing. This is a 170 gram one, which I have been using as my throwing putter for straight to slightly turnover shots.
No. Oh, I got plenty of those. Oh.
For my overstable throwing putter, I'm using a 750 PA3. This is one that I've been using for about 4 or 5 months now, and I have 2 aces on it, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, I actually hit it. What the heck?
Now moving on to the A series, I bagged 3 of these. First up, the most thrown one I have is a 400 A2. It's pretty flat, nice and overstable. I use it for both forehands and backhands. I actually won a $370 ace pot throw off after the tournament I played on Saturday in Opelika, Alabama with this disc. Next up, I have a 300 A2. This is for when I want to throw that A2, but there is a lot of pine straw like I have here, and I don't want that A2 to skip because it will do it. This one will stick, when it hits the ground, this one stops. And last up, I have this 400G A4 with an airborne, I guess these are called boomerang, bottom stamp. This one's pretty flat. I really like it for forehands. I almost never throw this disc backhand. Whenever I throw an A4, it's because I want a straight forehand shot.
I did. But you know, the one time I don't pay in.
I didn't ace and didn't make. Now moving on to mid-ranges. Right now I have 4 of these in my bag. First up, the most overstable is a Will Schustrick 750 Spectrum MX3. This is a little domey. It's not very much, but it's definitely a little domier than these other 2 in my bag. But this is a nice, really overstable MX3. I took out the M1 because of this disc. I don't throw it very often. It's my least thrown mid-range, but whenever I do want to throw it, it's nice for 3 to 320 straight with a little bit of fade shots. Next up, I have a brand new 400 MX3. That one was also 179 grams. This one is as well. I've thrown this like 5 times. It's just straight with a little dump at the end. Nice for a really controlled mid-range shot, so I need to finish to the left.
We already know I have bad.
Next up is another 400 MX3, which I've been throwing since I believe August. It's also 179 grams. I've beaten this one up to be very straight. I pop it out on a little bit of hyzer, it just flips up and flies perfect straight and just finishes really soft at the end. I can also throw this flat and hard and it'll move a little to the right. Great for really controlled shots.
Go higher next time.
You a little long.
And now my most understable mid-range is a Kale LaVisca 400G M4. This one is 180 grams. These are very stable M4s, this run is, and this one's a little bit domier. I haven't thrown any of the flatter ones, but whenever I got this one, it was almost like this MX3. So I didn't throw it very much, but I've started beating it up, and it's nice for really slow turning shots that'll hold to the right. Now moving on to the F series. Right now I only have 2 in my bag, starting out with this 168 gram 400G F5. This disc is great for super hyzer flips that I want to go really high with and move really far to the right, but I don't really throw that shot a lot, so what happens is this disc is most used for my more stable backhand rollers. I can put it out on a little bit of anhyzer, about 90% power, and it'll just slowly turn into the ground and hold a really nice, long, straight roller angle. And now my other F series in my bag is this 175 gram 750 F1. This is nice because it's not a meat hook fairway driver, but it is nice and straight with a little bit of fade at the end. Kind of similar to, a little between these two MX3s, but in a fairway driver distance. Now moving on to the H series. Right now I have 6 in my bag. We'll start with the H3 V2s. This is a 400 that I've been throwing for over a year now. It's really beat up. It's more stable than my 400G F5, but it is pretty understable. I use this for long turnovers that I need to hold to the right, up to about 400 feet. Next up is a 174 gram 400 H3V2. This one is nice and straight with a little bit of turn and just a little bit of soft fade at the end. Right now it's probably my go-to for wooded shots that I need to go straight for a long time.
That one's definitely out.
After that, I have this 750 H3V2. It's very new, it's not overstable, but it's very straight. It will not turn at all, with just a baby little finish at the end. This one's a very flat one. It feels really good in the hand. I don't think I mentioned, but it's 171 grams. Next up is my most overstable H3V2. It's also a pretty new one. It's 173 grams and the 400G plastic. It's also very flat like this purple one was. And this one, it'll flip up a little bit, but it has a very strong fade for an H3V2 at the end. I really recommend the 400G H3V2. Next up, this is actually, it's an H1V2, 400G plastic. It's actually 162 grams. And what I like about that is that I throw this disc most often on forehands, and I don't have a very strong forehand, so the lightweight lets me throw it further than I would a max weight one. While the 400G plastic is pretty overstable in this disc, so it still has its H1V2 stability. Not quite as overstable, it's definitely more overstable than the H3V2s.
Skip one.
That's gone.
Oh my, your supply of points left.
But not quite as overstable as this 400G original H1. These are meat hooks. This one's actually 169 grams, and it's almost as overstable as an X1. It's hard to explain, but because so many people are just like, oh, X1, that's the overstable disc. Original H1s, do not sleep on them. They are very overstable. I can't even throw this disc as far as my X1, just because it's just as overstable with just as much fade, but it has a lot less glide. It's really great. I use it for flex forehands, backhand spike hyzers, skip shots, forehand skip shots, pretty much anything that I need to go finish super far left or super far right, this is a go-to. Now moving on to a new disc to me, the FX2. Now I've only thrown these discs about twice each, so I don't know exactly what they're going to be in my bag. But what I do know, one of these will definitely be in my bag for a while. This one's in 400G, this one's in 500 plastic. They both have the first run bottom stamps, so that's pretty cool. One thing I really like about these FX2s are its distance potential and glide, along with its lack of turn and its hard fade. It flies for me as far as the H3V2s, but with the stability of the H1V2. So I'm really excited to try these out and see what they're going to do for me in my game. Oh my gosh! Next up is my distance drivers. Now, midway through last year, I was bagging 4 different molds of drivers, but I decided to slim my bag down a lot, and now I've narrowed it down to these 5 D1s. Let's start out, 750 D1. 750 D1s are pretty understable. This one, I can throw it on a little hyzer, it'll still turn to the right. It's not quite as understable as that H3V2, my flippy one, or my F5, but it's still the most understable distance driver in my bag. Next up is this 400 D1. I got this one from Colin Forehand the day after I got put on street team back in 2018, and it has not left my bag since. It is the perfect beat up D1 for me right now. I can throw it flat and hard, and it's just going to turn a little bit and fade back. Very straight overall distance driver, which is awesome to have. I also have a forehand ace with this disc, which is kind of surprising because I'm not the best at long forehands. Next up, this flat 400G D1. This one is a little bit more stable than that orange one. It has about the same amount of fade, but just doesn't turn as much. Right now, this is one of my further flying discs in my bag.
Okay, we're gonna try the spike hazard.
Next up, another 400 D1. This one's 174 grams. This one is pretty flat, feels great in the hand, nice and overstable, but it's not quite as dumpy as it was before I started throwing this one. It's nice for long shots that I just need to trust that are going to finish a little bit to the left.
Why don't you just do that?
And now for my most overstable D1, you might have heard about these Patriot Open 400 Spectrum D1s. These are money. They are not meat hooks like an X1, but they are very overstable. Will not turn, very reliable, good into headwinds. It helped me a lot in my tournament last weekend. And now moving on to the last of the discs in my main compartment, the X1. There's not a lot to say about this disc that you probably haven't already heard. Stupid overstable, skips really hard, not a ton of glide, but enough to get you a little bit of distance before it has that hard X1 fade. I throw this disc for both backhand spike hyzers, forehand spike hyzers, backhand skip shots, and forehand skip shots. It's not a very common, it's not easy disc to find, so they will cost you a little bit. I got lucky and found this one in a used bin for $13 last year, so that's pretty awesome. But it's definitely a disc that if you throw Prodigy, you're going to want to have in your bag. And now let's move on to see what's in the rest of my bag. I'll start out with the simple stuff. Got a water bottle here. Got a water bottle here. I'm about to go play around, so you got to stay hydrated. Because I'm about to pick my bag up, I'll go ahead and show you. I've been hiding my drink from a restaurant I picked up on the way here behind my bag. So, sweet tea, got a load. I have this caddy book from my tournament last weekend in Opelika. Here's my phone. I actually put it in the cup holder with my water bottles. I don't know why, but I do. Next up, in this side pocket, I have, well, first of all, my Valdosta Disc Golf Association bag tag. 3 minis. This is the one I used all of last year. This is the one I used last weekend. I'll probably use this one a little bit this year too. I like having these 3 minis in my bag. I think that's it for this side. Right here I have my Quick Stick Mini. This is great for getting this out of water or out from under bushes you don't want to crawl under or out from a tree. Let's see. Got a towel in my putter pocket. Can't have enough towels. Then in this side pocket I have my wireless earbuds. I got these for Christmas last year and I really like using them. It helps me keep myself out of my own head during a tournament. Also in this pocket, I have my car keys. Gotta get here somehow. Then over in this side pocket, I have more towels. That one's stuck on the zipper. Great. First, I got some beef jerky. I got some more beef jerky. Some trail mix. I have a mini M4. These are really fun to throw around. I have my birdie bag. I have my main roller disc. This is actually a 154 gram 400G D1. It is a really fun disc to throw around because it is flippier than any D6 I've thrown, but it's a D1. It's really weird to throw, but it's awesome for rollers that I don't have to throw super far, so I don't need a long straight carry, but I can get it down really easily and it'll cut over to the right really hard, really quickly. then lastly, I have a backup P Model S. This is just for the tournament I played last weekend, had some water on it, and then I'm playing Thread on the Mountain this weekend. Just in case I lose my throwing P Model S, I have this extra that's pretty much just like it.
Oh.
I thought it was going in. I don't think I mentioned, but as you can tell, I use the BP1 V2. It's a great bag, I really like it. It's comfortable, holds everything I need, as you can tell. It's a lot more storage than I thought it would be whenever I got it, but it's pretty awesome. Alright, thank you for watching.